It's the coldest season, and these are some of the most chilly sounding songs you'll hear all season long. Welcome to A Runner Does Music, where today we're checking out the debut album from YouTuber AlphaRad under the pseudonym Ace of Hearts called Frozen in Time. I followed Jacob for a few years now, jumping on the ship with his Super Mario Odyssey series, admittedly a bit late into his career on YouTube, but ever since I found him for the first time, I've been absolutely infatuated with all of his content. When I heard that he was making music, like a full musical step into things, I was ecstatic. I was beyond excited. What was going to happen from him? Was it going to be something similar to Nate Wants to Battle, where it's like rock and metal influenced? Was it going to be a Patty Walters situation, going into the pop punk veins? Who knew? Who knew? I didn't know. And when we got the eventual lead single Fool For You, I was hooked just as easily as I was hooked for his YouTube content. The song was beautiful. It identified what he wanted to be musically and what he ended up being musically, as I think the sound from Fool For You translates really well into this album. And I was essentially frothing at the mouth waiting for the next piece of content from him. Although I admit I did not really keep up too well in the beginning. I actually missed the complete release of the Monophobia EP, but at that point I kind of realized, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe some of those songs will be on this eventual full album. And they were, in a way. But without any further delay, let's get into the actual album here. Let's get into Frozen in Time. The first thing that caught my attention, and it caught my attention back with Fool For You, but it was much stronger this time around, was Jacob's vocal delivery here. It's a hushed and yet deeper delivery that sort of rides the fine line between both, never being too quiet and never being too deep, that it just sounds like he's singing like this the whole time. It's a nice middle ground, and I think serves the tone and the album's emotions very well. He's always been a very well-spoken person, especially in his YouTube content. I promise I'm gonna stop referencing his YouTube content very soon. It's just a good segue. I apologize for that. And the track that really shows this off super well early on is Silver Lining. Not only is there an immense amount of personal weight to this song, so much so in fact that Jacob wasn't 100% sure if he wanted to release it this early into Ace of Hearts, but the song itself is a second welcoming into what Ace of Hearts is going to sound like. It's a pure indie rock vibe with simplistic yet enjoyable guitar, and I like to say that the guitar also borders on almost twinkly at certain times, which is a fantastic contrast against the singing in its tone. Once again, we have the deep voice projecting really well without having to resort to too much volume, as you get with a lot of singers who have a deeper cadence. They sort of sometimes have to almost yell to get their voice out in a certain way, or just resort to scream vocals. Combo that again with the instrumental borderlining on just straight up bouncy, and then you delve into the lyrics. The lyrics are, once again, a wonderful choice of contrast here, and honestly pretty heartbreaking. Let's take a look at some of the lyrics here. You dance like you want me in your life, then why write your letters with a knife? These words create a sort of scene and a sort of presentation here that everything seems fine on the outside with this person that he's singing about here, but their actions and perhaps maybe the way they do start to say things is starting to lead into maybe things aren't quite all right. Maybe things aren't as, peachy keen and sweet as they seem to be. The sort of uneasy feeling that he's trying to communicate here comes off very clear and very well. Something that served to show a lot of the subtle evolution we've gotten over the time in the past, like year and a half, 2 years of the Ace of Hearts' timeline, is there's actually a remix of a song that was originally on the Monophobia EP, dubbed Monophobia 2. This new version has some stronger instrumental elements, namely the piano is much more mood-setting. There's some light string work attached to it too, and I think this is the best time to bring up that when I opened up this review and said that this was some chilly-sounding songs, I truly mean it. A song like this really fits the season that it was released in. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the fact that this was released during about basically the middle of winter, right at the beginning of December, it fits the tone, it fits the release date. This feels like a winter album, but it doesn't really pigeonhole it as just being an album that you can only listen to in November, December, January, and February. You can listen to this album any time of the year, but it really feels like a little more, I guess, powerful being in this season. The song plays out like a trailer to a movie all about heartbreak and the aftermath, and it's a really good showing that not every debut album has to be in your face, raucous, rock infused, and just it's powerful to a point of feeling like, oh my god, this is just so loud. A lot of people in their debut work, for better and for worse, tend to just make it a loud, never-ending momentum piece that feels like this is trying to get as much content as it can out of the way as soon as possible here. This song and the rest of the album takes its time, lets things sit, lets things boil, and when it boils over into whatever emotion is trying to be conveyed here, it boils over in fantastic fashion. In terms of genuine surprise here, I really want to talk about Queen of Everything. This was a very welcome mood change in the track listing, and the pure rock mood that it evokes here took me off guard. The natural momentum allows us to flow in a certain way that while the momentum's going up, it's going up a mountain and it never really crashes too quickly, the momentum still fits along with the rest of the albums. I don't know whether it was Jacob here or Luke Big Guitar, as they're both credited as multi-instrumentalists and both doing guitar work here on the album. Whoever did this guitar section here, the guitar solo towards the end of this song, wonderful work. Having songs that tonally and just sound-wise feel both sad and both rush and anxiety or maybe not anxiety inducing, with a sense of speed, that's a better way to phrase that, really add variety to this album. And of course, this isn't the only time that pure rock finds its way into the fold here. Deadbeat Volbarg has some elements of it, as well as sections of the earlier song Silver Lining. The overall moody, subdued, and settled atmosphere that this album gives off is the one thing I expected fully, and I was not disappointed at all. A lot of artists with their debut album fall flat in terms of the mood they try to establish and spread out throughout the rest of the album. They'll get one or two songs right, and then the rest feel forced in that matter. But that's not what happens here on Frozen in Time. The references and delving into moments of self-isolation, self-discovery, and overall just a sense of exploration never fall flat. They never cease to feel real and palpable. I feel like the journeys and stories being told and represented throughout really lead up to and conclude in a very satisfying way with the final track, A Life Frozen in Time. This song has hopeful words and hopeless memories packed up into one neat little package, especially with lines like, telling all my friends, God damn, this is it, oh how naive I was back then. This isn't just throwing in big words and references and this movie-like sense of wonder here just for the sake of it. It feels satisfying to reach the end of this song. It feels satisfying to go throughout this song, feel everything, and then walk away from it with the aftermath of how you feel. In fact, the way the song progresses really shows the change in tone of the changes of momentum that happened throughout the course of the album, albeit without the absolutely smashing guitar solo that was in Queen of Everything, but it's still there. Honestly, this song is everything that a closing track needs to be, representing the journey that the album has gone through thus far, wrapping up any loose ends and stories, which there weren't really any loose ends, but it did wrap things up pretty well, and just, of course, serving as a great individual track. Something that I did not expect was the fact that this album sounds good, no matter how you listen to it, what environment, whether it's on shuffle or in the normal order, and the production elements behind it really lead this to be an experience that can be experienced in any way, shape, or form. Not sure if this is the right thing that they're going for here, but there's some very video game-esque little quick sound bites here. There's some instrumental moments that feel very akin to like a Persona 5 soundtrack, with some of the jazz sections in the song Lights Off. This album begs to be enjoyed and experienced in several different forms here. I usually do my review process by listening to the album casually while doing something, then listening to the album while focusing on the album itself, nothing else, just sitting down with the album, and then maybe another couple listens after that to get a feel for certain songs. But this album was one that I listened to several times over here. Honestly, I think if there's anything you're going to leave in its frightful order, or anything that you need to listen to a certain way, leave the last track as the last experience here, because it feels like the best conclusion to the story, regardless of the journey's course. Fantastic voice presentation, fantastic instrumentals that serve the mood and the tone. Frozen in Time did everything it needed to do and more. And also, real quick, big shoutouts to featured vocalists Adriana and Deanna. They put some work in here that also made the experience very enjoyable. For all the reasons I've talked about today, A Frozen in Time by Ace of Hearts gets a 7 out of 10. That's the review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Did I miss something? Did I not talk about something enough? Or did I completely just not talk about something at all? Let's get a conversation going. And, Alfred, if you are seeing this, Jacob, if you're seeing this, dude, fantastic fucking work. I'm happy that you're able to do this. I'm so proud of you as a fan and, just as a person in general. Solid guy, solid album, good shit. Well, and besides that, have a great day.